Rev up your engines!
Now I want to know, why is the government supporting failing industries in the United States? The Biden administration just raised the tariff on $18 billion of Chinese imports, including electric vehicles, solar panels, batteries, and more. They plan on a 100% tariff on Chinese electric vehicle imports, 50% tariff on Chinese solar cells, and a 25% tariff on Chinese steel and aluminum. So they want to build a 100% tariff on Chinese electric vehicles. Why are we supporting companies that make crappy electric vehicles and put a 100% tariff on the Chinese, which are better made from what I've seen, much lower priced, right? We're supporting crap. They're doing exactly the opposite of what I've told people for years. People are always saying, oh, I can't stand it. The corporations, they control everything. What can I do? Well, corporations exist to make a profit. They're selling you something. Right? If you don't buy what they're selling, they go out of business, right? So why should we support these failed companies, Tesla that makes crap, the GM Ford electric cars that are crap, by putting 100% tariff on the Chinese ones, which aren't crap? To me, that doesn't make sense. It's doing the exact opposite of what we should do as consumers. If we see something, we should buy the best thing we can at the best price, right? Because the Chinese vehicles will cost too much because we're going to put 100% tariff on them. I mean, this is just absolutely ridiculous. Sometimes protectionism is a bad thing. Then we end up paying more for garbage, just like this nonsense that they're pushing of the windmills out in the ocean, right? My electric bill has doubled this year from last year in Rhode Island because they're putting those stinking windmills in there. And who pays for it? Us, the people in Rhode Island and Massachusetts who are getting that electricity. Somebody pays for it, right? You think they're building those windmills for fun? No, they're building them to make a profit, and they cost so much money that they just raise electric rates. I don't want to pay more for cars because the car manufacturers here can't compete. It's too bad. That's what I say. What are people driving for most cars, since Americans don't make cars anymore, they make SUVs and stuff? Almost all the sedans are Japanese, right? Because they make them better. They didn't put 100% tariff on those, right? And now the Japanese, though, they were really smart because Toyota, Honda, for decades, they've been making cars in the U.S., jobs factory, so they were very smart to get themselves set. And they've done that all over the world. They make cars all over the world, so the people aren't going to complain. Oh, this is a foreign company, right? They have the factories here. Chinese problem is they're actually making them in China, and then they don't have a leg to stand on when it comes to saying, oh, well, we have American jobs and stuff, because they don't. So the Japanese, in this case, are a lot smarter than the Chinese. They're just building them all there, and that isn't going to cut the mustard. I guess they just didn't understand politics. The Chinese never really did. They only care. Look at China historically. They only care about China. They don't care about the rest of the world. Anybody who thinks the Chinese are going to take over the world are nuts. They have no interest in anything except supplying stuff for China so China itself can grow. They're not taking over the world, right? The Chinese made a big mistake not making the factories over here and building the cars over here, in which case they'd be grandfathered in like Toyota and Honda. Well, here's an interesting one. Your car may be slowly killing you, but it's not the reason you think. A lot of cars have flame retardant chemicals to stop them from burning in case of a fire. Now they're saying you can get cancer from breathing in that stuff. All those chemicals are unregulated and unmonitored, and is also based on outdated flammability standards that may not even improve safety. Flame retardants have been linked to cancer, fertility issues, thyroid disease, and neurotoxicity. And when they're applied to things like car seat foam, chemicals can leak into the air where they can be inhaled or ingested by drivers and passengers. You're riding in a car, it's pretty much sealed. You're breathing the crap that's inside there, especially today. If it's hot or cold and it stinks outside, people put it on recirc, you're breathing the stuff. And maybe the stuff inside your car is worse than the air outside. They did an experiment and they tested the air inside 101 cars manufactured since 2015. So they tested the materials and they found out that 49 different flame retardant chemicals were in them, and found that there were 17 different ones in the foam samples they collected from the seats. And many of these are known carcinogens. 60% of the silicone strips had known carcinogens in them. And of course, it only makes sense. If you're in a warmer climate, you have a higher concentration of these flame-resistant chemicals inside your car. The heat brings it out. And of course, you got to realize one thing. even when you're up north in the winter, if it's a sunny day, it gets hot inside the car, just sitting there, so it's still all year round. You're getting these chemicals coming out. The heat lets the flame-resistant chemicals off gas in the vehicle. The gas comes out. If you get in your car in the summer after it's been sitting in the sun, there's a lot of flame retardants build up in the air, so it's a really good idea now. Crank the windows down, blow it all out. Don't put it on recirc, put it on fresh, and try to blow the crap out. But of course, the most sense would be get rid of these stupid flame retardants in the first place. Well, we're worried the seats are going to start on fire. Spray those chemicals on, then they can breathe it in. We don't care. Maybe drive with your windows rolled down all the time from now on. Well, here's 6 vehicles you should stay away from, all right? Finally, other people agree with me. In some financial news articles, I say I have to agree with these people. Finally, somebody knows a little bit about cars. Now, number 1 to stay from is the Audi A3 e-tron. Audi's electric car that they made from 2013 to 2020. You can get them cheap, but there's a reason, because they fall apart and they cost a fortune to fix, right? Now, number 2 is the Chevy Spark. Again, it was discontinued in 2022, and you can get them relatively cheap, many of them for under $10,000. But, hey, you can't get parts for them. They're just cheaply made, those little Sparks. So, number 3 is Jeep Compass, and I agree with that entirely. They just don't have quality, and the Compass is one of their cheaply made things. So I got to agree with the Jeep Compass, too. Number 4, another Chrysler product, a Dodge Journey. Now, they don't make the Journeys anymore. Stopped in 2020. Weren't built well, horrible gas mileage, outdated technology. And the next one is the Nissan Z. Now they came out, 400 horsepower, twin turbo V6. They can't give them away. Nobody's buying them. And even though it was a new vehicle, as one reviewer said, the running parts are borrowed from an 18-year-old model. So those are some cars you shouldn't buy. I agree with them. I mean, there's lots of them, I'd say. Those are actually really good ones. I would stay away from any of those cars if you're thinking about buying a used model. There's a reason you can get them cheap is because they were cheaply made, they had problems, and you don't want to buy somebody else's problem. Well, certainly Elon Musk is divulged from reality. He's got this prefab house they're talking about, right? Originally it was supposed to be $50,000. Say, well, look, it's a fraction of the price of a regular house in the United States. Okay. Do you know what size this stupid thing is? It's 375 square feet. It's like a large closet, right? And he's trying to say, oh, we can have these houses and build. Who's living in a 375 square foot house? Do you know how tiny that is? I've been in bathrooms that are bigger than that. Old Elon said he wanted an economically inexpensive, ecologically safe housing. And he said he wanted to apply his wealth in a meaningful way on his yacht and all other crap that he has, right? What a bunch of... And then he wants his $45 billion pay package brought back, with the courts in Delaware said, no, that was a sleazy deal. You can't have it, right? Now, let's face the facts. Who the heck's living in a 375 square foot house? They come up with these ridiculous figures and they say, well, a medium house in the United States is now $400,000. This is $50,000 for 375 square. You need like 10 of these to make an actual house. Then it would be above the medium. And you'd have 10 little crappy houses stuck together, right? I mean, it just amazing. I guess he was trying to sucker the government into buying them for homeless people or something. And then he'd get paid all this money for these crappily built 375 square foot houses. You know, yet another idea of Elon Musk that pretty much is stupid. Maybe it was just a grab to try to get money from the government. Who knows? It never really got off the ground. Just another idea of how old Elon is so divulged away from the real world. He doesn't know what. Let's see him live in a 375 square foot house. His bathrooms are probably all bigger than that, right? I can't help but laugh at this one. The electric Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon is basically perfect. Here it is. The guy read the article, his name is Daniel Golson, and he's a corporate shill if there ever was one, right? For the article in it, it had to say this, and I laughed my butt off. They have to tell the truth to what happened. In the article, it's on the internet, and it's an electric fanboy thing, you know. Here's what he says. Full disclosure, Mercedes-Benz flew me to Montpellier, France, to drive the entire 2025 G-Class lineup. They put us in 2 different fancy wineries, fed us amazing food, including G-Wagon-shaped cookies, and let us drive a bunch of these models. I was grinning ear to ear the entire time. And then he goes to say, this is the perfect vehicle. Yeah, what the heck? Don't listen to these people. They're corporate shills. They do whatever the corporation sends them wines and dines and say, oh, it's such great vehicles, right? What a bunch of horse manure. I met one of these guys, writer for a Mexican blog in Mexico. Met him in Austin, Texas, right? I said, well, where are you going after this Formula One race. He said, oh, well, Land Rover's flying me to Norway, putting in a hotel and champagne and caviar, and we're going to drive the new Land Rovers on glaciers and stuff, right? And then he just kissed the company's butt and say how great their vehicles are. If you ask any mechanic, they'll tell you G-Wagons are the worst things in terms of quality. They fall apart, they cost a fortune. And this is an electrified version, so you can imagine. And of course, it's a Mercedes-Benz, and they're expected to start at 180,000. God knows what 200 something will go if you load them up, right? This corporate shill, the electric Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon, is basically perfect. This is just, at least I have to say, this online site had the honesty of having him put in that little thing. Oh, well, Mercedes-Benz wined and dined me, so basically I'm going to kiss their heinies, saying how great the vehicles are, right? These people are disgusting as far as I'm concerned. You got to read these articles because you have to laugh. You can't believe that people are this openly corporate shill. Well, kiss your heinies some more. A little more champagne and caviar, please. It just breaks me up. I mean, it's so disgusting, it's hilarious. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.